The Epstein Files have been released.
Breaking news out of Washington, the Justice Department just dropped a trove of new documents and hundreds of videos from the Jeffrey Epstein Files.
We found out a few things. We found out that Michael Jackson hung out with Epstein, which is crazy. I didn't know that. And we also found out that Bill Clinton was actually Epstein's best friend in these photos that were released. Also, the fact that Trump traveled allegedly more times than what we were told on the private jet of Epstein. So there's a lot of information that has came out and I went through it. I'm not going to talk about everything that was in the files because this video would be really long. It was a lot. I'm not going to lie, I didn't go through all of them because that's how many they were. Long story short, there's a lot of things that have been redacted, which, if you know, there was a bill passed called the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which this bill basically states you have to release every single document, every single picture, every single thing that has to do with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And the only things that you can redact are victims' personal information, and information that is basically undergoing investigation. So there's a lot of things on this file that has been released that is redacted that is not supposed to be redacted. There's a lot of names on there that have been taken off or erased or blacked out, and that's not what you're supposed to do. So the DOJ did their own thing, decided to remove some stuff on their own behalf. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about all the documents that they redacted and everything that has been released in this file by the DOJ. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. This episode contains discussion of sensitive topics that may be distressing for some audiences. Please take care while listening, and if these topics are triggering for you, we encourage you to prioritize your well-being. Welcome to Taste the Tea podcast. My name is Teresa, and in this podcast, we talk about true crime. So if you're interested in true crime, please subscribe, like, comment, and if you want to watch my previous episodes, please check out for more true crime. Okay, so now, like I said in the beginning, there was a bunch of files that I had to go through. There are a lot of documents, pictures that came out, okay? But most of them, I didn't even have to read because of how redacted these documents were. Now, I understand the whole victim part, which they have came out. Most of the victims or some of the victims have came out and stated that they want them to release the files and, they want them to know that they were involved.
I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me
when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
But they still redacted them, which completely understandable. They're the victims and they're at that time they were underage. So the DOJ, they first dumped some files, which was, I don't know if you guys remember, but in my previous episodes about Epstein with Edwin, we did talk about the documents. In that video, I basically explained that they were going to release a document on December 19th of 2025, which is this year. And they did. They released the first dump of the documents, but they did not release all of them, which is not surprising. And they labeled it Epstein's Library or Epstein Library. And in the documents, there was a lot of court records, a lot of DOJ disclosures. There was already a released Freedom of Information Act of disclosures. So there was a lot of documents, mostly pictures is what people focused on in these files, because you see Michael Jackson in them, you see Bill Clinton in them, you see a lot of, I mean, obviously Jeffrey Epstein, but a lot of Jeffrey Epstein with very young girls and weird images that just throws people off. But we'll get into that. They didn't follow the law on the day of the release. When I say they, I mean the DOJ, because they didn't release all the documents. Now, if you know a little bit about the act or the bill that they passed and Donald Trump signed, it basically states that the DOJ has to release the documents, all the files, 30 days after it was signed, after it was passed, and 30 days was December 19th. And like I said, they didn't release all of them. So that was the first strike. After 15 days of the release, they have to, or within 15 days of the release, they have to write a letter or a letter basically stating the things that they redacted from the files to Congress. And yeah, so they did so. In this letter, we'll talk about it later of what they put on this letter. Long story short, they had to write a letter stating that they redacted a few things that were not supposed to be redacted, and they had to explain that. And we'll talk about it. But the DOJ admitted it to Congress that they did not release all the files. So the file completely, the whole file with nothing taken out, it is 300 gigabytes. That's how much it is to download it. And then what we received on the 19th of December was 2.5 gigabytes, which is not a lot. Not even half. Not even close. But yes, so that's what we received the day of the release date. Which is crazy. What really stood out to me on the first release date. Oh, wait, sorry. Before I get into it, when the documents were released, I had to be in a queue. I had to log in when I went into the Department of Justice. I had to be in line to get the documents, to get to the file, which is insane. Like you can imagine how many people were wanting to look at these documents and these pictures and stuff like that, and the file, in order for the website to have a whole queue. Like if I was like in line for, I don't know, Taylor Swift's freaking concert, it was insane. What really stood out to me were the pictures. I mean, obviously the documents as well, but the pictures they were really interesting. Not interesting in a good way, but interesting like in like, what the heck am I looking at? It was just crazy. Some of the pictures you would look at and they're just fully redacted, which obviously it's nudes. So that's why they were fully redacted. There was a lot of them. There was a lot of redacted pictures that is literally fully fully blacked out. And some of them even have like a whole, like a sticky note on the picture because of how, I guess, either gruesome or the nudity. Most of them, all the women were redacted. There was even some men that were redacted, which who are they and why are they being redacted? Or maybe they're a victim too. So we're not sure. But yeah, there were some men that were redacted as well in these pictures. And there was obviously other pictures of women naked, and obviously they're redacted. Their parts and everything are redacted, and their faces are redacted as well. So I don't know, it was just a lot of those pictures, and I literally, all I could see was that. And then there was many pictures where Bill Clinton was in them with women. There was one picture that was going around on the internet, mostly on TikTok, that I've seen, was Bill Clinton in a hot tub or jacuzzi or whatever it is, or a pool, with Ghislaine Maxwell and another girl that was redacted. So there was a lot of those. And there was also there was a picture of Donald Trump with a bunch of girls in a line, and it was in a drawer of Epstein's office. So the picture was of Epstein in his office talking to another man, and there was a lot of pictures there, and some of them were redacted, but the Donald Trump one was not. So that one was in his drawer, and you could see it. And another one was a picture on his desk, and the girl was redacted, which is weird. Like, why would you redact her? And who did he have on his desk? Who did he have a picture of on his desk? So I don't know. It was just really weird. And then there was also pictures of Epstein with a bunch of girls. There was a picture that I vividly remember of Epstein sitting on a chair and then a girl standing up right next to him. You can obviously only see Epstein, and the girl is redacted. Yeah, there's just a lot of pictures of those, or a lot of those pictures, and those are the ones that stood out to me the most, just because of how like redacted these photos were. And the men, I was really confused. I don't know if there was also men victims, but it was really weird to see that a lot of men were being redacted as well, or they were trying to cover their identity. So we don't know, right? So the documents from the grand jury was also redacted. There was a judge that ordered for them to be released. They were released, but they were all redacted. They were all blacked out. So you can't read nothing on these documents. Literally, not even one word. So, what's that about? And why would you want to redact all that information? What is on there? There was also police reports. And obviously, these police reports were reports about I don't want to say the word, but child pornography. They were filed on September 3rd of 1996. So it goes way back. So it's crazy that, there was women already like reporting this to the police from 1996, and nothing was done until like what, 10 years later? That's the first time that he got arrested, and then 20 years later of when he really like got arrested, really was convicted for these crimes. So I don't know if y'all remember of the story of these two sisters. They came out and stated that they were sexually assaulted or sexually abused by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. This came out in, I don't know if you guys seen it, but if you haven't seen it yet, the documentary on Netflix of Jeffrey Epstein, and these two girls do come out. But basically, it's these two sisters, 12 and 16 years old, for her own professional artwork. Epstein stole the photos, is believed to have sold the photos to potential buyers, one time requested to take pictures of young girls at swimming pools. Epstein is now threatening, redacted, that if she tells anyone about the photos, he will burn her house down. So, Mr. Epstein is not a good man, obviously. Now, there was also a transcript of a victim talking to detective, which shows the manipulation that Epstein had on these girls and the control that he had on these girls, mostly by giving them what they wanted. In return, they had to give him what he wanted, right? So the transcript states, I've gotten thousands of dollars worth of shit. So this is the victim talking, sorry. I'm only going to read some parts. But yeah, so she says, I've gotten $1,000 worth of shit, a bag of Victoria's Secret underwear, like talking like $1,500 worth of stuff. I got a plane ticket from him once. I got a car. I got Christmas bonuses. I got movie tickets. She also states that she saw David Copperfield and had VIP tickets. The control and the manipulation that he had on these girls is crazy, because he would choose the girls that literally came from nothing, or were struggling, or were not in a good place. And so if you provide, these type of stuff to someone that doesn't get this often, or is not used to this, it's a type of control and kind of I forgot what it's called, but it's bribing, and just a sick minded person, to want to kind of win them over with money, with tickets to a concert, VIP tickets to a concert, a plane ticket. Like, it's insane. It's insane the things that he would do just to control these girls. There was also a portable cause affidavit. I'm sorry. Palm Beach Police Department. So it gives more proof of young girls being in Epstein's home, which is crazy, because it's like all these people knew for a very long time, and eh, some people did not say anything, and they just kept it or threw it under the rug. So this states they would be taken upstairs to provide the massage. I asked Rodriguez if any of the masseuses appeared young in age. Rodriguez stated that girls that would come appeared to be too young to be masseuses. He stated one time under Epstein's direction, he delivered a dozen roses to, and then it's redacted, for one of the girls that came to provide a massage. He knew the girls were still in high school and were of high school age. I asked Rodriguez about the massages. He felt there was a lot more going on than just massages. He would often clean Mr. Epstein's bedroom after the alleged massages and would discover massagers/vibrators and sex toys scattered on the floor. He also said that he would wipe down the vibrators and sex toys and put them away in a um armor, I guess a drawer. But so yeah, so he would put these toys away and do all this stuff, but it's like, you didn't run to the police. Like, I guess he didn't have much evidence, but still, it's like a little bit weird, like why you're still working there. But yeah, there was pictures on this file of the sex toys. There was there was a picture with a few, maybe like 5 of them, all in one picture, and there was another one of a glove that looked like the fingers had some sort of like ridges, like rigid edges. I don't know how to describe it, but it looked weird. Every single finger, it looked different, if that makes sense. I might put a picture here. I don't know. It's a little bit weird looking, but yeah, there was that. And there was also pictures of girls with like writings, like quotes of a book on her chest, on her back, on her hand, was it on her arm? I don't remember, but on her feet. You'll see the pictures. But it was there was definitely a lot more going on than just massages, and now we obviously know now. But for the people that were there, it's like for you to guess, like, that was like putting it out there. That was telling you right there and then, yeah, something else is going on, you know? But anyways, why was so many of the documents redacted? So this is where we're going to talk about the letter. So things that could be redacted in the files that was stated were victims, identifying information about victims, information that would mess up ongoing investigations, and anything that could mess up national security, right? Well, Todd Blanche, he is the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. He did an interview, or he was the one that did an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but I did talk about it in my last episode where there was an interview that she had with Todd Blanche. And after this interview, she miraculously got a was moved into a different facility and was given better treatment.
Ghislaine Maxwell got moved into a country club prison after she gave an interview saying this.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
A whistleblower alleges that Ghislaine Maxwell is getting special treatment in prison.
Maxwell's meals have been customized. They are delivered directly to her cell. She is personally escorted to the exercise area after hours and gets to enjoy recreation time in staff-only areas. When she wants private meetings, the warden personally arranges them, providing an assortment of snacks and refreshments for her guests.
He explained to Congress in this letter that he wrote that they took it upon themselves to redact law enforcement names and email addresses and names of Justice Department officials. Wow. How are you going to be able to do whatever you want to do? The law is the law. Donald Trump signed this document, and the DOJ needs to abide by it. But they did not. So on December 19th, this letter was sent to Congress and was stated that they took it upon themselves to redact the law enforcement names. And yeah, I explained it already. So the reason why they stated that they did this was because they wanted to kind of make sure that the officers had enough safety, because supposedly they were in these documents and they could be innocent. So they were trying to, or they were having a lot of people, they were getting a lot of death threats, these officers, and they did not want them to get much death threats after this. So they decided to redact their names instead. And it was definitely not, okay for you to do that, but and you're not supposed to. Like, yeah, I understand they're getting death threats, but why are you in the documents? Who knows? I mean, you can be innocent, but people already know you in there. So if you're already receiving death threats, might as well just like accept the fact that you're in these documents and like move on forward. But no, they had to save their people and make sure that they gave them enough safety to be be in these files, but be redacted. I don't know if that makes sense, but they redacted their names, right? Sorry if you hear like a really loud noise. We have our heater down here and it is like wide open. So if you hear that, I'm trying to try my best to kind of get rid of the sound, but it's gonna be there, okay? Because it's like really, it's right there. It's right in front of me, and it's wide open, so the heater makes a lot of noise. Donald Trump has a lot to say about this. From my last episode, we kind of already talked a little bit about what Donald Trump thinks about the situation, what he thinks about, us, the citizens, talking about Jeffrey Epstein files and not like throwing it under the rug, basically. So he has a lot to say. But in this recent interview or video that came out on the 22nd of December, he stated that there's a lot of innocent people in the document, in the files, in the pictures that were released with Epstein that are losing their reputation and calling it unfair, taking it away from the Republican wins, which is crazy.
A lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success.
Honestly, we don't know exactly. We're not 100% sure that these people are innocent if they do appear on the pictures or whatever. It's crazy because it's like, you signed this document stating that you were going to release all the files, and the files had to be released. You knew what the files had. So now you're saying that a lot of people are losing their reputation, but it's like a lot of victims lost the ability to calmly, live their lives peacefully. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say much about that, but he did state that, right? He signed this bill, and in this bill, it does state in section 2B1, prohibited grounds for withholding. No record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. He's saying like, oh, they're ruining our reputation, but it's like, it states in the files, they cannot be redacted or withheld, even if because of embarrassment or because of reputational harm. So you got to release the files, the DOJ. I mean, I'm talking to the DOJ here, because Trump signed the document. So now it's up to the DOJ if they're going to release them all, right? Which hopefully they are. They said by January they should. But there is also another section. It's section 3A3. The final report to Congress, a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons' names or referenced in the release materials with no redactions permitted under subsection B1. Government officials, FBI agents, prosecutors, DOJ staff, etc. Their name have to appear unredacted in that list. They were redacted. So it doesn't matter if you're gonna ruin your reputation, you have to be released. So how I said, that a lot of information was redacted that was not supposed to be redacted. So this could be handled by the Congress in many ways. So, number one, Congress can hold a hearing with the DOJ to figure out, why did you not follow the rules? And number two, anybody, you, me, congressman, can sue the DOJ in court to force them to take the black bars off those law enforcement names. And then number three, a judge can order the DOJ to re-release everything unredacted and fine them if they keep refusing. Number four, if it gets really bad, they could try to impeach the Attorney General or Deputy AG for breaking the new law. It doesn't seem like anything is going on right now. It seems like they're not really paying attention too much. I think what mostly people are upset about the situation and upset about how much is redacted on the files. I understand the nudity. I understand the victims. That's understandable. I understand, personal information. But there's literally a whole document redacted. So what the heck is that, right? Another dump of files was released on the 23rd of this month, and it came with a warning from the DOJ that states the Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protection for Epstein's victims. Okay, so this was the first time that they ever stated any warning like that. Why? It's like stating like, oh, I didn't break the candle, like it just fell, but you actually broke it, or something. I don't know if that was a good example, but something along those lines. It's like you're having to cover up something, or maybe it's true, but the problem is they put 3 more warnings out after the first one. So we'll get into it. We think that the reason why they stated this was because of a letter that was released in the files. But basically, this letter is written by Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly, to Larry Nazar, something like that. He was another pedophile. He definitely big pedophile right there. This letter states, "We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies. Our president also shares our love of young mobile girls." So Trump shows up, in these files more than the previous first dump, right? So maybe that's why they had to release a whole warning, but it's like, just let it be. We're gonna see it anyways. But anyways, this letter was released, but they stated that it wasn't real, that it wasn't true, and they had to release another warning to make sure we knew that. So the first thing that the next, warning that they stated, it states, of this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nazar, and we will follow up as soon as possible. In the meantime, 3 facts stand out. The postmark on the envelope is Virginia, not New York, where Jeffrey Epstein was jailed at the time. The return address listed the wrong jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. The envelope was processed 3 days after Epstein's death. So they had to make sure we knew that, right? They had to make sure. And then 2 hours later, the FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nazar is fake. The fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for FBI at the time. The FBI made this conclusion based on the following facts. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York, which that was a little bit weird, right? That stood out to me too. The return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail, right? Basically what they stated in the first post. So this is all on, X. So yeah, they had to make sure that we knew that, but they had to make sure we understood this, right? So this fake letter serves a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release all material required by law. And then 3 hours later, Todd Blanche, which the Department of Justice released or reposted his post, and it states, there has been lots of sensationalism and even outright laws these past few days about the Epstein files. But let's separate fact from fiction. Document production is just that. We produce documents, and sometimes this can result in releasing fake or false documents because they simply are in our possession because the law requires this. Case in point, the so-called Epstein Nazar letter is clearly fake. Wrong handwriting, wrong return address, and postmarked 3 days after Epstein died. Fake videos of Epstein in his cell, photos with no explanation, sensational tales, and lies by random people. These are not reality. We will continue to produce every document required by law. Let's not let the internet rumor engines outrun the facts. Why did they have to post 3 warnings? No, sorry, 4. 4 warnings just so that, people can understand that this is fake. Okay, I think we heard you the first time, but this is not the only place that Trump appeared in. So there was another document that came out, and this one doesn't seem so fake, but I don't know. Maybe this is another thing that they, thought, or another thing that they're telling us that is fake as well, but we don't know. So it's basically an email from a redacted person warning someone else that is also redacted how many times Trump was on the flight logs. So this email states, for your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported, or that we are or were aware of. He is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 to 1996. I feel like we already knew this because I remember a little bit about that, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. On one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. And on another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then a 20-year-old, which is redacted. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers repeatedly were women who would be possible witnesses in Maxwell's case. Now, this person that had to, send this email out to whoever, I don't know who, was the assistant U.S. attorney. Why were they warning somebody? Were they letting someone know? Like, what was the reason they wanted to send this email out to a person? I don't know who it was, but it was, it doesn't look very nice, right? So that's another place that Donald Trump is in. Another document that Donald Trump appears on is phone messages. So there's these phone messages from 2004 to 2005, and then ongoing up until 2008, right? But it states to Mr. J.E., which obviously we know who Mr. J.E. is, Jeffrey Epstein, right? Donald Trump appears on one of the phone messages, but it just shows his name. So the reason why I bring this up is because it shows that Donald Trump was still in contact with Jeffrey Epstein in 2004. Now, I'm not 100% sure when they, stopped being friends, but that's some proof that they still were talking at that time, right? Okay, there was also more messages, but these messages do not involve Donald Trump. These messages stood out to me because it's crazy that they have all this information and they wrote these things down. Same thing with the emails they sent to each other. It's like you're basically asking for someone to catch you. But these messages state, and they're going to, Jeffrey Epstein. They state this is from 2005 to 2006, I think, or around that time, But one of them says she will be here at 4 p.m., but she needs to talk to you before that. Please call her back. Another one states, I have 2 females for him. Please call her. Has girl for tonight. Her new phone number. She can be tomorrow here from 2 p.m. to whenever. Canceled. She would like to speak to you. I believe about college. Redacted. Should I schedule anyone else? There's a lot of them or there was maybe 3 other ones that stated that, or 2 that said I have a female for him, I have 2 females for him, or whatever. So it's really weird. Now, Prince Andrew comes out in a lot of the pictures. We kind of already seen him in some of them, but Prince Andrew comes in the picture allegedly in this email from someone so-called the Invisible Man. So it seems like he is the Invisible Man, allegedly, but I'll get to that. And the email is sent to Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, this email states, have you found me some new inappropriate friends? And then it says, see ya, A. So, I mean, it could be anybody, but whose name starts with A? And then in the very beginning of this email, it says, I am up here at the Balmoral summer camp for the royal family. Prince Andrew is in the royal family. And then there's another email that I believe is Prince Andrew. The Invisible Man is Prince Andrew, but that's just my opinion. From Ghislaine Maxwell. Thought you would like to see what I sent. And then it states, or it goes down to, what she sent to someone else. I just gave Andrew your telephone number. And then it goes on, right? But then the Invisible Man answers and states, got it. I'll ring him today if I can. Love you, A. So she said his name. So it's to me, I believe the Invisible Man is Prince Andrew. But we kind of have an idea that Prince Andrew is involved because also his title was taken out or taken off from him. So he's no longer Prince Andrew. He's just Andrew. And it had to be within, the situation. You don't just get your title removed unless it's something serious, right? So yeah. So that's all the information I got for you. There was a lot more documents and there's a lot more coming out, like I said, and they haven't released every single document yet. Hopefully they release it by this upcoming, month, the new year of 2026. Happy New Year, by the way. So there's a lot more documents coming out. So when that does happen, when they come out, I will let you guys know. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I ramble a lot, but I hope it was still entertaining, and I hope I was able to educate you on the Epstein files and everything that has been going on right now. And if you want me to, talk about some story or want me to let you guys know on some tea, please let me know in the comments and I would gladly do so. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video and I can't wait to see you in the next one.